Hi everyone, my name is Tasha and today I'm doing my wrap-up for the TBR Takedown Readathon, which took place from the 20th to the 26th of June, which was last week. This readathon was created or is being hosted by Shannon from Leaning Lights. I will link her channel down below. I joined this readathon last minute, which is why I didn't have a TBR up for this. But I did post my TBR on Twitter, which you should follow, link down below. There were 5 challenges to complete. I almost succeeded. I'd still call it a success because I did read 4.5 books, which is pretty good for my standards at the moment. The first book I had already started before TBR Takedown, but only a few pages, so I slipped it into my TBR. And the challenge was to read a book from your most recent book haul. I've owned this book for a while, but it was in my most recent book haul, and that is When We Collided by Emery Lord. This is a contemporary book about 2 young adults named Jonah and Vivi, and them meeting and getting to know each other and falling in love. And I loved this book so much. I had heard a few negative things about it, so my expectations weren't too high, but I think that was a good thing because oh my god, I loved it. This book was so beautiful. It was written beautiful, and I really liked these 2 characters. They're very different. Vivi struggles with some mental health issues, and Jonah's father passed away, and he has to take care of his siblings because his mother is having a few issues, obviously, after her husband dying. Anyway, it's about them meeting and just them being together. And this book made me cry so much. It's very high on my top books that made me cry. There is a case of insta-love in this book. It was a different case of insta-love. I don't know if that makes sense. It didn't bother me as much in this book as it does in most other books because there were certain reasons for some aspects of the insta-love. I don't know if that made any sense, but to me, it wasn't the typical insta-love. I don't know. But I really enjoyed this book. I gave it either 4 or 4.5 stars. I'm not entirely sure, but a very high rating, and I would recommend this book, and I'm definitely checking out more of Emery Lord's books. The next challenge was to read the first book in a series, and for this I chose The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I had this book from my library, and I had to read it, and it fit this challenge perfectly, so yay. This book is the first book in a fantasy series about clairvoyance. This book takes place in an alternate, futuristic London, meaning it's the London we know, but kind of different, which is what I mean with the alternate London, and then that London a bit in the future. I don't know if that makes sense, but it makes sense when you read it. And in this London we follow our main character, Paige. She is a dream walker, meaning she can look into the dreams of other people, and she works in the criminal underworld of London, this futuristic London. And one day she's kidnapped and taken away to an unknown place in which she is trained in her clairvoyance. That was probably the worst summary ever. The first 50 pages of this book, I had no idea what was going on. I was so confused. There is so much world building right from the beginning. Like, seriously, the first few 50 pages maybe? I don't know. There was a lot of world building, which none of it made sense to me, or very little of it made sense to me. But the more you get into this story, the more everything makes sense. I ended up loving this book so much. In the beginning of this book I felt a bit detached from the main character, Paige, but somewhere like in the middle, I don't know, at some point I started really liking her and feeling kind of connected to her. And I also really like the ship in this. Oh my god, the feels. I gave this book 4.5 stars, and I would really recommend it if you like fantasy. The next challenge was to read a sequel, and for this I read another book I had already started, but I started this one like last year, and that is The Austere Academy, book 5 in the series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. I had read half of this book last year and never picked it up again, so I thought this was a great opportunity to finally finish this. and I did. I didn't really enjoy it. I gave it 2 stars. I'm feeling kind of mediocre. Ow! I'm feeling kind of mediocre about this series, but I still want to read it because I want to know how the series ends. The next challenge was to read the book that has been on your bookshelf the longest, or over a year, whatever. This book has been on my bookshelf for several years, and that is book 6 in the series of unfortunate events, which is The Ersatz Elevator. And this one I actually enjoyed a lot more than The Austere Academy. I'm really liking where the story is heading now, and I gave this one 3 stars, and it's probably my favorite in the series so far. And the last challenge was to read a book out of your comfort zone, and for that I chose Captive Prince by C.S. Pacat. This is a fantasy, I want to say. I have heard very, very mixed things about this book. Either people absolutely worship this book or they absolutely hate it, and that made me a bit nervous, especially because I know there's a lot of rape and violence and those things in there. By the way, I haven't finished this book. I'm like halfway through. So far, I don't know what to think about this book. I'm glad I was prepared for the rape and violence because, oh boy. I will talk more about this in my wrap-up because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna finish this either today or tomorrow. So these are the books that I read during TBR Takedown. I'd call it a success, considering that everything else I've been reading has taken me like a month or a few weeks to finish. So reading 5 books, 4.5 books in a week was definitely a success to me. I'm very glad I joined, and I would love to know if you guys joined. What did you read? Did you like what you read? I hope you enjoyed watching this video. That was it for this time, and I will see you next time. Bye!